January 22nd, 2012. It's very similar to the weather that we've had winter this far. Very balmy. It was like a 67 degrees. We decided to do something fun. We're kind of impromptu people and like to do fun things. So we decided, let's go into the city with a boy. Our boy at the time was 10 years old. And we thought it was a good idea to go. So we made our way into the city, and we took the subway in. And then we're down in where the courthouse is, and there's a park near the courthouse, and I can't remember the name of the park. Anybody know? Nobody.
What city?
New York. In the city, New York. When you're here and you say you're going into the city, you're going into New York City. So we're in New York City. We made our way in New York City. It was a balmy 67 degrees, and we thought it was a good idea to go check out sightseeing. So we're by the courthouse. There's a park near there. We see these large crowds gathering around there. And we thought, what's going on? So we went near the crowds, and it ended up being an event. And we're like, they asked us if we wanted to join the event. And we're like, sure, let's join the event. The event was held by a gentleman, and he was the head of Improv Everywhere. So we're like, sure, let's do it. So we were instructed to be divided up by last names, and so we decided that they'd separate us by groups and based on your last name. And then these groups, we were to proceed to the subway, and they would separate the large groups into smaller groups. So in our group, it was myself, my son, and my husband. So they divided us from like 50 into smaller groups. And they said, okay, how many are in your group? 3. So, okay, when you get to the subway platform, get on the 3rd train, and so forth. So if there was 1, 2 people, get on the second one, 3, and so forth. We were instructed to get on, go 1 stop, and get off, and stand on the platform. So we're like, we can do that. At the end of all, we were supposed to all gather at Union Square. So we proceeded down to the subways in this group, in this larger group, then we divided into smaller groups. And then we got in front of the 3rd train, and when the train came, the subway came, our group got on. My husband, my son, and myself. So we got on. But one thing I failed to mention, that before we got off until the next stop, there was a sign that there was someone on the subway that was part of the Improv Everywhere. So when we received the sign from that person, we were instructed to take our pants off. So, as some of you may know, it is called the subway, the No Pants Subway Ride. Every year they have once a year. So before we got off, we were instructed, we got the sign from this lady sitting there with a red jacket, instructed to take your pants off. My son and my husband are at the next door, or the next opening of the door, or whatever, and I was over here. We kind of separated, because we couldn't keep from laughing. So from keep from laughing, we kind of separated. So before we got on, we got the signal, we proceeded to take our pants off. Sitting right next to me is Grandma, Mom, and 2 small children. So luckily I had shaved my legs, because as women know, in January, our legs look like carpets. Do we agree? Okay. Good, I'm not the only one. So we took our pants off, and we stuffed our pants in our jackets or purse, and we just stood there. And people are wondering, what in the world is going on? These crazy people are taking off their pants. So we got off at the next stop, and we're standing on the platform, and people are coming up and asking, where are your pants? And my husband over there proceeds to tell them, well, I just forgot them. Well, what do you mean you just forgot them? Well, I just forgot them. I decided it was nice and warm, and why not take them off? So we thought it was a good idea to take our pants off, but let me tell you, to see my husband standing there with his very white, pasty legs was well worth it. So we got back on the train with no pants, and of course now there's larger crowds getting on, so now you have like 10 to 15 people per train with no pants. And we all met at Union Square. So here we are at Union Square, thousands of people with no pants. And someone approached me, can I take a picture? Sure, why not? Well, I thought it was a good idea at the time to let them take the picture. Next day, we get home, and my son goes to school, and they usually ask, he's 10, well, what did you do over the weekend? Well, I went to New York City, we took our pants off, I had pictures, do you want to see? Well, needless email from the teacher saying that that's what happened. But that's not even the half of it. I did a Google search on the event, and there is my picture from a Sun Sentinel and Yahoo News. You'll see me with no pants.